It's been a long time since I've really been to a show. I see live music all the time. Living here in Nashville, it's kind of hard to avoid that. But it's been a really long time since I can really remember being at a show, fully participating in it with all of my energy and all of myself that's present there. I started to think that either maybe I'm getting too old, or worse, those things just don't exist anymore. And then I saw this video from Turnstile. There's a lot right about what they did, and whether you just play guitar or you're just focused on recording, and no matter your age or what genre of music you listen to, there's energy to take away from this video and apply to whatever you're making. Over the last few days, it started to circulate around at least my YouTube feed, and I've seen it on TikTok as well, and it's instantly reinvigorated that feeling in me of what it means when music and people really come together. There's not a minute of music that I make where I'm not thinking about people. I talk about all the time on this channel how important I think that is to the overall equation of things. But something you know and something you feel are two very different things. And this video has brought that feeling back to me. Pretty much my entire life has been focused on music, but especially from ages 12 forward, playing shows and recording and being in environments like this were and are a staple in my experience. I have so many core memories just like this. When I started playing music in the Bay Area, I knew that the scene that I was in wasn't going to last forever. The Bay Area just naturally is always evolving. I didn't think it was going to go away altogether though. I remember so many shows just like this, gatherings of people just like this, that would happen so often and so consistently that everyone just kind of took it for granted, myself included. So I want to take a minute, talk about this Turnstile show, the incredibly DIY nature of it, and how they just proved to everybody again that it's still possible to bring people together to have a great time, to make great music in the moment for a bunch of wonderful humans, and to be able to do it without a bunch of dickheads and $6 water in the process. Let's get into it. What's up everybody, how's it going? I'm Brad Dollar. Welcome to the channel, it's great to see you. Before we get too deep into this, the crazy thing about this video and even just thinking about this concept is that as of today, we're also starting to see very noted bands, by industry terms, All American Rejects, playing house shows, creating very real experiences like this. I think not only fans and audiences are thirsty for shows and performances like this, I think bands and artists are as well. I know there's a lot of worry about AI music and, AI taking over everything, but when you see shows like this is something that AI can never replace. There is a deep need inside of humans to come together around music. Even if it's AI music, I don't think that does the same thing as watching humans make music together. And because we see it so little in person these days, we're talking about a video here to begin with. This is most of our life is watching videos. Because it happens so little in person these days, it really makes it that much more magical when you finally do see it in person. When you see a band playing and it's kind of loud and it's not perfect sounding and there's other people who are enjoying it and having their own experience. You see all kinds of people from all ages crowd surfing, getting up on stage, dancing, having a great time, the band's having a blast. There's just so much right about this. So how do we make more of this happen? How do we make this the norm again? This used to be the only way to really proceed. If you had a band, or even if you were a DJ, or you were just kind of an electronic duo, this was a significant goal. Play a show to a ton of people who are crowd surfing, having a great time, and are really listening to your music. They're becoming part of the music with you. I feel like that's what people have always been trying to do on social media. They're trying to create this environment, but at the end of the day, you can reach all these people, but they're all still just by themselves. And so even as we sit here talking together, creating this video or watching this video, it's important for you and I to also get out in the world and participate with other creators, other musicians. And all of this seems super obvious, especially if you've done any of that in your life or you've been to shows like that. I think what's important is there is a generation of wonderful people who are coming up who are thirsty for this type of experience. They want to feel it. They want to hear music like this. They don't just want to look at nostalgic videos and just be oh, that would be cool to experience that again, or I guess if I want to feel that or experience that, I gotta pay $400 a day to go see some bands that I like. Environments like this create a low risk barrier to having extremely impactful experiences. Honestly, transcendent experiences. How many people are going to leave this show and make music, listen to more music, be better to the people around them? How good of a release was this? So what are some ways we can create more environments like this, more situations like this? First and foremost, this Turnstile show reminded me that some of my favorite shows I've ever been to, even here in Nashville as an adult, have been in non-venue spaces. Parks, community centers, recreation halls, skate parks, random fields, driveways, warehouses, things that weren't actual venues, places that weren't properly wired or set up, but were just, very DIY. I totally get it that a lot of venues have closed, and even a lot of spaces and mom and pop owned restaurants and shops and grocery stores and places like that all over the country and all over the world have closed down. I get that. But if you think about it, if you just organize it properly, any space can be a space to bring people together. I'm not saying that like everyone has to go out there and book the entire Wyman Park Dell in Baltimore, but what's it like if you do something like this in your backyard and you work with your neighbors to like make it cool for everybody? If you're not sure if you really want to be the person to, book all age youth center type shows, the people that we were booking these, shows at the Panola Youth Center back in the Bay Area, they didn't want to deal with like a bunch of teenage kids. But if you make that idea possible to people and you let people know that, especially young people know that they can do things and that there are spaces that have great boundaries in place for them to, not feel constricted, but to succeed. If we just remind them that those spaces are out there, that could be the ticket to more of this happening. And if you think about that as a thing we can have generational impact on, if we help young artists now, this means as we get older, we get to enjoy those young artists becoming awesome grown adult musicians, thriving, creating all the bands and a healthy local music ecosystem that I think everyone is eager to experience, especially outside of places like Nashville, places that typically don't have big music scenes. Doing what we can now to help everybody understand that it's possible to create shows and gatherings like this, especially when there's a sense of like helping community. I think if we can all just keep that in mind and just try like one time in our life, if we all just try one time to like bring people together around music, I think we'll all be surprised the impact that has across time and space. You can get out there, you can do things DIY, you don't need a lot. The great thing about community is that it can create resources and help you ladder things up. It's definitely something I need to hold myself to. So let's just all do what we can to remind everyone, including ourselves, that it is possible to create experiences like this. Another really significant thing that I remember from that time, and that is probably a big part of this Turnstile show, is the gear doesn't have to be perfect. The sound doesn't have to be perfect. The presentation of the actual audio doesn't have to be the entire element of the equation. The music and the experience of people really can speak loudly for itself. All of my favorite shows have pretty much all had measurably bad sound, but none of that stopped me or my band or my friends from creating these shows, creating these events for our band to play, but also others to come and play. And it's all we ever wanted was just for there to be an audience to share the music with, and for it to grow with us, and for us to like keep taking that music to more and more people and more audiences. And so the gear was never great, and that never stopped us. We had crappy Behringer mixers, hand-me-down PAs, monitor system was a bunch of just like guitar amps and bass amps being used as power amps for speakers. It was just a mess, but it worked. And we even at a certain point had bands coming in from out of town to play these little youth center shows that we were putting together. I'm one story in probably hundreds of thousands of stories all across the world of people putting on small shows with nothing, with just great local musicians coming together and making music together with their local community. Now, it seems like cool, it's a fun thing to do on a Friday night or Saturday night, like it's good to have these little shows, moments, but the bigger thing is about the cultural impact this has when we try to foster as much of this as possible. That's why I'm so specific on this channel about the gear doesn't really matter and the rules don't really matter, and even the A/B tests I do, like none of that stuff matters. Are you making music? Awesome, success. Are you releasing it? Major success. Are people listening to it and are you engaging with them? Like ultimate success. The main part, the most important part is to get out there and do it and to make it and create it. And you can't let gear stop you from that. So the gear in this show is great. They got a stage and side fills, and I'm sure the PA is awesome, and they all have like wireless rigs, and it's a great presentation. I'm not saying this is bad gear on the show, but it's also not the same massive system you would see like at outside lands. It's not the same massive system you would see at some big festival. It's fine. It's probably too small for this park. That's for sure, but who cares? matters. It sounds how it sounds. The most important thing is to be there. And I guarantee you, no one who went there is, complaining about the memory of the sound being whatever it is. They're just glad that they were there. And that's what I'm talking about. How can we create more of that around music? How can we help more people have that feeling of, I was glad to be there around the music and the environments and the experiences that we create? That's the most important part. There's nothing else you get from this video. Let's just try to answer that question. Let's just think about that question and try to bring some answers around that, because I think that really is something for us all to approach. As we enter this world of AI and people just really not knowing what's real or not, moments like this are real. No one who went to that show will ever question if that was real or not, what those feelings felt like, and they'll try to put that into every element of their life. So let's try to do more of that. All right, so that's enough rambling. I mean, this is a pretty talky video. I feel like a lot of times I try to make more produced videos, things that are gonna resonate longer. And I really appreciate you if you've found those and now you're finding yourself here, and that if this was one of those videos you were hoping it's going to be, I got some more like that, go check them out. But I'm gonna try to touch base more like this, maybe in our own worlds, trying to figure out not necessarily how to solve, but how to contribute solutions to. You can't really solve bringing back all ages venues and all of a sudden trying to reinvigorate every live seat of music across the United States or across the world. But what we can do is come up with small solutions that can add up to change, that shift those things. So we're seeing shows like this at your local park with your local pop punk hardcore bands and ska bands and rap bands all coming together to make music. Start to see that as the norm. If we can create some elements and some solutions that lead us more to that, I promise you, life across the planet is going to be improved. Life is going to be better. I know that's pie in the sky, optimistic, rose-colored shades, but music is really at the center of everything that is good and right in the universe. And whatever we can do to create it, make more of it, create experiences around it, I really think it's worth our time. And that's what we're here doing and talking about. You probably play guitar, you record, you play bass, you sing, you make music in some way. Maybe you're just a passive watcher of this. But I'm sure there's something in your heart calls you to create special moments through music. And really, if it's there for you, you should answer it and do your best to try to share that with people, because people are the most important part in any of these equations. So that's what I got. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't checked out Turnstile before, please go check them out. They've got a lot of great music out there. You can watch the video in full. It's linked below in my description. I highly recommend it. There's a bunch of different angles. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. Let me know in the comments what you think about the show. Thank you so much for watching. Check out the store I just launched, the memberships that are going on. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.